Good morning and welcome to our collaborative webinar between Magna and Otolink. So good morning to the UK delegates, and I think it's good afternoon to our delegates and host Elias in the UAE. So thank you very much for joining. Today our guest speaker Elias will take you through some new and exciting products that's available now through Magna Systems to the UK automotive sector. Before we begin, I will just run through some housekeeping. The product presentation will last approximately 1 hour, after which we will allow questions from the audience. We have allowed 30 minutes for questions, and we will aim to finish at 12:30 UK time, which will be 4:30 Dubai time. If the delegates could please keep microphones on mute for the duration of the presentation to eliminate any background noise. There is a question section on GoToWebinar for you to raise any questions. You can raise them throughout the presentation as and when they come up, but they will be answered if we can in the 30 minutes at the end of the session. So I will now hand over to Magna Automotive's Director Paul Mellings, who will give a short introduction into the history of the Magna and Otolink partnership before Elias then takes us through the products. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Steph. Great to see so many of you attending today. So thank you for giving your time up. Certainly, the automotive landscape has accelerated the new way of working over the last 2 years, and with the digitalization topic now really being at the forefront of everyone's mind, as the OEMs look at different ways of providing great customer experience. So our showrooms will visibly change, customer servicing will change, communication with customers has and will evolve. Plus, reducing the carbon footprint is a very hot topic at the moment. We were challenged by OEMs to look at how we streamline the process and the solution support the now and the future. We started off in the Middle East and talked to our DMS vendors Keyloop, who are also on a journey of integrating solutions via APIs. And this was aligned to where OEMs were heading, opening up their platforms through certification of DMS and third-party solutions. So we needed a partner to join up the dots, and Otolink was that partner. We looked at their products and integration capabilities with Keyloop support through their certification process, plus having a footprint in the Middle East region. As the UK channel partner of Otolink, we are now looking to bring those same capabilities to this market to deliver certified products and integrated solutions to support the digitalization topics you all have now and for the future. And now you really want to get and see what these products and services are going to be. So I'd like to hand over to Elias, who will take us through the presentation.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to colleagues who are also in the Middle East that have joined. So my name is Elias Sabbagh. I'm the co-founder of Otolink, based out of Dubai in the Middle East. And we've been working very closely in terms with Magna, in terms with a lot of different providers, different dealerships on what we can do from a digitalization journey. And this is basically who we are and where we come from. It's pretty much we have been working very closely on identifying within our DNA what is a digitalized journey for the automotive business. What are the consumer expectations? What is a dealership expectations? And what is a manufacturer's expectations? And in reality, what we try to take a look at is today from a consumer perspective, with the power of technology, mobility, they have pretty much everything at the in the palm of their hands. And we all know that already, and we've known that for many, many years. But when the automotive industry start to get into the digitalization, they realize that there's a lot of manual work, there's lack of integration. We have to replicate certain things across multiple systems, multiple solutions, and that's how we've been operating for many, many years now. This is what Otolink is all about. Otolink is the tool that is going to be able to provide integration across various platforms back to DMS, third-party systems, solutions, and try to provide a collaborative solution across various areas within the automotive business. So I'd like to kick it off really quickly and get into the products itself. They're going to be running off a presentation, but to give you some ideas of the capabilities of what we're capable of doing from a platform perspective and the flavors across various areas. So we begin pretty much within our mobile application. Now, our mobile application is an integrated application across the board. Today, a lot of dealerships have been looking at potentially having mobile applications. You know, there's a lot of companies out there today that they are providing you with mobile solutions. Yeah, they can display your vehicle, you know, what models you're representing. Potentially booking a service has been done lately by filling in a form. It goes into an email to someone, and then somebody has to manually enter all of that data. So Keyloop provided a whole suite of APIs, I would say, in the last couple of years. And this has been quite new to the market, quite new to a lot of different people, a lot of different industries. But the problem with that was basically being able to understand the concept, to be able to understand how this journey is working and design workflows in reality to the marketplace today. So from a customer experience, they want easy to use appointment booking tool. They want to be able to get accurate information. They want to be able to provide all of the necessary requirements that is needed for their vehicles and the communication between the customer and the dealership. So when we looked at this journey from an Otolink perspective, we actually realized that today there's a lot of applications out there that have been built and done by many, many people, and some of them delivered by the manufacturers. They're all beautiful, they look great, very easy to use, but they have one massive problem. They don't talk to the dealership. From a consumer perspective, this is where I am buying my vehicle. This is where I'm buying my product. This is where I would like to service my product, and this is where I would like to work with. So this is what Otolink provides. We provide true integration from an appointment perspective using mobile application directly into the DMS, providing and exposing workshop availability, booking against a direct service advisor. With the service appointment booking tool, we also have the capabilities of assigning parts, reserving the parts within the DMS, and so on. But there's quite a lot more into it. We could talk about online payments, notifications to the customers about the journey of the vehicle within the car, being able to show what offers you currently have, create a customer profile, and also take a look at the customer details and updating the customer details within the DMS record from their mobile application. So there's a whole lot of information that we could provide in there, things like surveys, loyalty, live chat, and really allowing your dealership to be a dealership without any borders, and expanding your digital footprint and expanding as well your company's presence 24/7. So that's pretty much it from the mobile application perspective. There's a whole lot of things that comes into it as well. It's quite a big product, but some of the key features in it are related towards that. The other thing is meet and greet. So meet and greet, we take a look at the showroom process. And today for walk-in customers inside the showroom process, if we think about how a showroom inquiry is being handled on a walk-in perspective, we have the receptionist that is going to do the meet and greet with the customer. We may potentially capture some information of the client, put them down on a piece of paper somewhere, and maybe try to enter them into the DMS. But what ends up happening at later stage is that then it's going to get handed to a sales executive, and the customer is losing that edge by the minute that they start asking the customer for repetitive information. What's your name, phone number, email, in order to capture this detail, for be able to raise a quote, for example. With the meet and greet tool, it's an easy to use tool. We could provide basically direct lookup into the DMS. We are able to extract customer CRM record out of the DMS in real time. So to prevent duplications, to prevent issues of repetitive work and all of that manual work, you could simply do a simple lookup of the customer if the customer provides you their name, their phone number, you'll be able to do these lookups within the DMS itself, see if this is an existing customer, what are the current vehicles that they have, are they interested in a trade-in opportunity on one of their existing vehicles, and then what are our current offers, why are they here, they're interested in a new vehicle, which model, which trim, and then also create an inquiry directly against a particular sales executive that you're dealing with. Now, without doing any manual data entry inside the DMS, you're able to handle all of that in the form of a mobile application. So this means that right now, capturing inquiries and capturing lead perspective can no longer only be within your dealership walls. You have the capabilities to expand across the border and get out of your dealership walls, go into an event, be able to do a sales VIP event or any get together with any customers and start feeding the inquiries directly into the DMS by doing customer lookup or even creating an existing customer straight from this tool. So here in the Middle East, we've been doing some testing on this, and we are able to successfully be able to create a customer record and so on in a minute or less. So it's quite powerful and intuitive. It will give us an opportunity also to capture real-time activity reports within the showrooms on walk-ins, because you're handling everything on an easy-to-use tool. And of course, at the end of the journey, you could complete it with a survey with a customer, which also you'll get some positive feedback. If we move on as well to one of the other products that we are working on as well. The next, sorry, Charles, next slide, please. Yeah, so the online vehicle sales. So the online vehicle sales today, if you want to go ahead and take a look at exposing our vehicle stock. Everybody wants to go online. Everybody wants to try to expose the actual stock. Either you want to do it from a B2B perspective or a B2C. Today, it's pretty much a very manual approach. We either extract a report or we manually add the cars on our websites or on our mobile applications, and it takes a lot of work. Because if that vehicle is then sold within the dealership or it's sold online, we got to start thinking about the reservation. How are we going to handle this? While these tools and these websites are operating 24/7, 365 days. Anybody at any point in time, they can go ahead on your websites, put a deposit, and you need to make sure that you are sharing the correct information, the correct data. The beauty about the APIs with Keyloop on this is basically it has an opportunity and the capabilities of extracting this data and exposing it as well online for customers to be able to go ahead and see your stock and be able to view the vehicle technical specs, the vehicle information, what is available currently, what is not available as well, and potentially maybe do special orders if needed be. But the most fundamental important item out of this is in real time. And when you reserve a vehicle through your online platform, you're actually reserving it in the DMS. So it's going to help you on solving issues from mistakes that are happening by sales executives, any issues that may be mistakes on booking the same vehicle against two customers or any of all that. You will not need to worry about this given the integration levels that comes from here. So we also assist by providing tools online for use, such as EMI calculators, if you want to present to the customer the different rates, the agreements that you have with different banks, and so on, so that they could value themselves, evaluate the opportunity, evaluate whether their monthly spend would be and if they can afford it or not. But also a lot of different information, such as online payment, where we could provide you with a payment gateway directly. There, the customer will pay the deposit amount online and reserve the vehicle at that point in time. But today, in a world without border, when what we learned from COVID is a lot of the customers these days, they kind of have some resistance into going somewhere. So things like live chat being built into these technologies, basically chatbots as well, or artificial intelligence chatbot responding to different things. All of these technologies are available to us today, that we have the capabilities to display this solution to our customers and exposing our sales channels. So similar to vehicles, the next thing as well, it will be related to spare parts and merchandise and accessories. So our parts web store, what it really does is it has the capabilities, again, using Keyloop APIs, it has the capabilities of extracting real-time stock availability. Now, there is a lot of work and mapping that gets done behind this from Otolink in order to make this work seamlessly. But it does provide the capabilities to display to your customers your actual stock levels. And the objective and the intention of it from an order part perspective, the customer will add the items that they want to their shopping cart. By adding them to their shopping cart, they could then basically submitting the order, they could pay for it or they could submit the order, and it will go all the way into the DMS by creating a WIP, assigning the parts and reserving the part against this particular order. So this is really, really powerful from a parts perspective, and able to start moving and doing a better turnover in terms of stock management with your parts department. Because you could go ahead and target wholesalers, you could target parts warehouses, you could even target individuals, customers. We do provide also the ability within Otolink's platforms to build kits for parts. So if you would like to buy a kit for a brake job, then it includes brake discs, calipers, and all that. So this is where we provide a lot of the mapping logic that sits behind all of this, that will identify these different part numbers on components that are required. We are also working right now on future development with this, on how we can better provide integration, particularly for accessories. And I think some of the fast-moving parts or special order parts, we've had a lot of feedback from different groups that they are asking whether we can integrate with Amazon or eBay. And we are actually working quite hard on trying to identify what would be the best way to provide this technology or these levels of integrations to these massive, massive online web stores where there's a lot of traffic and a lot of potential customers in there. So directly, we have the capabilities to maintain order history on these on the parts. You have the capabilities of extracting the invoices from Otoline and publishing them onto a customer portal. We can assign a credit limit on a customer profile, and we will do all of the handling and the logic from a customer profile perspective on how much credit limit they can consume, or their order, has it exceeded the credit limit or not. But definitely the important thing is being able to get away from the manual approach of exposing your parts description, prices, part numbers online to customers. And then if somebody wants to book basically if somebody wants to order an item from you, they have to either contact you or do it manually in one form or another. So from the other thing as well that we'll provide from the other products as well is the landing page. The landing page, Charlotte, if you can. Yeah, there, online service portal. So the online service portal, we know very well that today a lot of customers may not have the appetite to take on a project such as a dedicated mobile application for your business. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of work, and it may be not a requirement. However, you still need to have the requirement to do online booking to help the service department and so on. So the same technology that sits on the mobile application is now available in a form of a landing page that is a plug-and-play landing page that we provide you, which will have the capabilities of the customer doing a lookup on their vehicle using their vehicle registration number or any form of identification that you see fit for your business. We will be able to look up in the DMS the customer information, the vehicle information, publish service history on that vehicle, and also have the customer do the entire online booking through your website. So if you have your own website, it's a landing page that you could plug in on your website. You want to do it in any other form of campaigns, such as on social media activities and so on. There is the capabilities of providing that landing page, which is quite dynamic, and having it as a plug and play across the different areas. The similar objective as it is on the mobile application, you will get real-time workshop loading availability, and what is the capacity. We will be able to also assign the booking directly to a service advisor. And on top of all that, we have one extra feature that is quite interested in this, which, let's say, for example, you are doing a booking today through Keyloop call center. Through the DMS, you're doing it through the call center, you're doing a booking for your customer. what we could do at that stage is we have the capabilities to from upcoming appointment to even retrieve that booking data and have the customer manage their booking to either reschedule or cancel their appointment if they cannot come on the booked date. So they could either start the process from the mobile application, or they can, from the landing page, or they could take it from the call center. When you're doing your reminders to your customers, you can provide them with the link to have them reschedule their appointment and try to reduce the no-show effort required to this. Next slide, please, Charlotte. All right, so third-party integrations. Third-party integrations, where does Otolink play as a role here? What Otolink does here is obviously, companies such as Autotex, we don't have a tool that is equally close to Autotex. Now, we know that for some customers that are available on Rev 8 today and with Keyloop, they potentially may have integration with Autotex, but for Drive customers, there's no integration with Autotex. And the integration is quite simple. It's basically once you are compiling and completing the estimation through Autotex, how can we potentially feed that data into the DMS onto a whip against the correct customer, the correct vehicle, rather than having manual keying of all of the lines, the labor lines, parts, and paint lines that are needed onto the whip. So it's a simple connector, if you want to call it, that reads the data out of Autotex and pushes the data into Keyloop DMS onto a whip once, obviously, the job is completed from a testing perspective. So, and I think that this is the last slide, Charlotte, I'm assuming. So from that, we can basically try to take a look at what are the different datas that we could get. But anything we could try to do and work on in terms of integrations, a lot of these items, we've mapped out the workflow, we've mapped out the technology, the understanding of how can we achieve these results from that perspective. So that's pretty much for us. I want to thank you for your time, and I really want to thank you for this opportunity as well, Magna team and everybody on the call from there. Steph?
That's great. Thank you very much, Elias. So I think what we will do now, we can see that there have been some questions coming through. So if it's okay with you, Elias, I'll take you through the questions, and if you're able to give the answers, that would be great. So the first one is, how many DMSs do you integrate with? Is it just Keyloop?
So for the time being, we are working predominantly with Keyloop on these DMSs. This is where the majority of the customers in the Middle East that have approached us came from. They came from Keyloop DMS, and obviously something that you have taken consideration that is quite important. It's the integration, and the integration requires certain technology that so far we've seen only with Keyloop. From APIs that are available across the board and deliver truly a whole flavor and wide range. But for now, from an experience perspective, of what we have is with Keyloop only.
And just to clarify, Elias, for those that are on the call, you do integrate with both Rev 8 and the Drive solutions?
So we have to be quite cautious. Some of the APIs, the majority of the APIs that are available today are on Drive pretty much, but some of them are available on Rev 8. Depending on the product that we are looking for, we need to align ourselves with Keyloop and try to see if it's available and we can actually deliver the solution on Rev 8.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Just bear with me. So the next question is, I think you mentioned you can use the meet and greet remotely, for example, at events. How will any customer inquiries captured make their way back into the DMS? Would it be a batch update once in the business, or a live link via mobile data?
Well, it's a fantastic question. Thank you for that. Actually, it is a live feed through the APIs. So it's not like before where you had capturing customer information that gets extracted on some form of Excel or basically once you get into the dealership, then like you have an offline experience. There's no offline experience. This is direct integration into the DMS. So you're feeding the information, you're doing customer lookup and feeding the information back into the DMS without even the need of being in within your dealership.
Excellent. Okay. Just moving on to the next question. So the next question is, can you please go into a bit more detail on the differences between the current service online solution and the product that you presented, service appointment booking?
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of differences between service online and SAB. Luckily, we had the experience in both. We have both technologies integrated into our platforms today. But the biggest advantage of SAB comes really from the quickness of the integration, I would say. Second of all, you have a layer that is called the Elements portal that is provided by Keyloop. What does the Element portal allow you to do is really, from a service perspective, you could basically reserve parts, you could allocate parts onto a particular job, and you could create different labor lines depending on the different the different skill sets that are needed on a particular job. But predominantly as well from SAB, there's a lot of features and functionalities that are available into that technology that are not that we haven't seen in service online. Things like exposing service history on a particular vehicle and identifying which whip number was at that particular job. Things like rescheduling an appointment as well. This is very well capable within SAB. There's a lot of different other features as well that you could use depending on what you are looking for. With SAB, you don't need to also have a customer create a profile, receive an email verification link, and then go manually look up their vehicles. To give you a simple example, here in the Middle East, we have the majority of our customers. They are getting all of their details out of the DMS simply by scanning their vehicle registration document on our application. So we use OCR technology, and we are able to scan the vehicle registration document. Given that the information out of that scan, we are able to look up into the DMS, retrieve the data, and publish them and save them there, which is something that we've tried with Service Online, and unfortunately, it wasn't really working quite well. We do believe that SAB provides a lot more flexibility in how you want to operate your workflow from a service perspective.
Great. That's a great answer. Thank you, Elias. Okay, so moving on to the next question. How many sites do you have deployed, in what brand and in what markets?
So currently, the majority of our business, actually all of our business, comes from the Middle East. We have customers, I would say, a little bit everywhere in the Middle East: Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, Kuwait, across pretty much the whole region. The brands, they are all variety of brands, and for those that may not know, the Middle East market is quite different than it is in the UK or in Europe or in the US or in Northern America. The dealerships that are available here are actually the importers, the distributors, and the retailers all at the same time. So they all hold a massive number of multi-brand operations, multiple rooftops, that is quite heavy from a technology standpoint in order to cope with the magnitude and the size of them. Give you a very simple example. One dealership that we have out in Abu Dhabi, in only one location, they have about 180 bays. So 180 technicians that we need to properly manage the workshop, expose the correct time, data, what do we need to provide, how do we book on all that. You have other customers that they have 56, 32 locations across country, across multiple brands. So we've done it with Stellantis, FCA basically. We've done it as well with Nissan, the AVME business as well, and quite a lot of different brands, JLR and so on.
Yeah.
Volvo.
And I think it's probably worthwhile mentioning at this point that this is the launch webinar. So, you know, the reason why the products are in the Middle East is we haven't launched these products to the UK market yet. And this is the intention of the webinar today, to get the news out that these now are available in the UK market. And I think it's safe to say, Elias, we would be welcome to anybody who is open to pilot and work with us to start bringing these products to the UK. So if anybody is interested, then we will share how you contact us at the end of the session.
Absolutely.
So the next question is, sorry, Elias, the next question is, how do the parts online links, how do the parts online link into the likes of eBay and Amazon work?
So another great question. I mean, for the time being, like I said during the presentation, we are working on identifying the right tools and the right technology for this. Obviously, companies like eBay and Amazon, they are predominant working through APIs. So if they are working through APIs, which allows us to do real-time integration from an API perspective. So it's really important to take a look at how we're going to be able to feed that data back and forth. You have to understand that Otolink as well, not only is pretty much the foundation of it is like a middleware. So basically it's getting the data from different areas and being able to not manipulate it, but basically distribute it in a systematic way so if you get the data out of the DMS into the Otolink platform, it's our job to map out that data properly and feed it to the way that Amazon wants to see it, and vice versa. So when the data comes back from Amazon or eBay, from a customer perspective, it is our job to design the workflow on how we're going to be feeding that data into the DMS in a language that basically Keyloop is able to understand, and not have you as the customer going by your way by manipulating the fields and changing all kinds of different information that are unnecessary. So we will help out from that. To give you a true honest answer, we are still in the discovery stage and in the R&D stage on eBay and Amazon, and try to understand how they are. eBay and Amazon are extremely massive companies that is very, very difficult sometimes to get a hold of the right people that are going to help us understand through that, but we're going through it actually.
We do hope to have that integration at some point this year, don't we?
Yes, it is definitely in our roadmap of development for sure, and we have people that are dedicated onto that are basically working dedicated on the parts online modules, that they are 100% focused on how can we deliver this to these stores.
Great, thank you. So the next question is, if we had a challenge in our business that hasn't been solved with the products that you presented today, is there an opportunity for development?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we do provide an open platform. We have to take in consideration a few things, that we have to respect the certifications. We have to respect as well the partnerships with Keyloop and Magna and so on. So as long as it's not, as long as it's developments that are basically designed towards a product that is for you, and there's no impact on the integration, or there's no impact on the flow of the integration, there shouldn't be any problems. It should be very easy and straightforward. In the event where we do need to change some of the developments in terms of that, then it may require additional certifications on our behalf to make sure that we're compliant. There's GDPR regulations that we need to be compliant on. There's partnership compliances as well that we need to watch out for to make sure that the commitments are all held. The answer is not no, 100%. We're always open to evolve and learn and develop better things. But again, it is case by case.
Thank you. So the next question, are there any further details that can be provided on the loyalty program solution? Can this be offered as a standalone solution?
So the loyalty program is part of our is part of our mobile application, and unfortunately at this point in time we don't have it as a standalone. It does come with the mobile application, but it does have a lot of flexibilities as well. Things like linking it to a concierge service if you'd like to do that. If you want to provide exclusive offers based on tiers, based on models, based on customer spend. There's a lot of flexibility when it comes to that from our backend and the mobile perspective, and it is delivered to customers in a form of a mobile application that comes in with a lot of additional features. So if you want to offer them discounts on service bookings or any discounts depending on third-party engagements, such as I don't know, golf course tickets, or whatever the case may be, that's all possible, and it's quite flexible from there. The customer can get rewarded with points based on their spend, or you could do it in any other forms as well if you want things like, for example, based on the models that they have purchased. So this with Mercedes-Benz here in the Middle East, customer Mercedes-Benz in Egypt, what they want to do is they didn't want to go based on customer spend. They wanted to know based on the model class that the customer purchased, they are going to be qualifying them into a particular loyalty and offer them certain services that may differ from one to another. So there's different ways you could do it, but the system is quite flexible, and we are happy to have a discussion to see what are the things that are missing that you'd like us to provide in loyalty, or things that you would like to see what we can provide.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so moving on. Next question. Do you hold any data in other databases other than Keyloop? All actions, transactions are recorded as standard Keyloop data fields, ?
Okay, yes and no. So in terms of data, obviously, if you are using our mobile applications, if you are using our parts web store, we need to store the data in our systems to be able to complete certain tasks and certain journeys that may be relevant. We are at the end of the day playing the role of the connector, middleware, or also delivering a product per se. So there is data being stored there as to be completely transparent. However, in terms of providing integration into Keyloop, it's very well identified which are the data fields that we can read and write to within a Keyloop system. So this is where we have the flexibility to do a lot of different things from that perspective. If I could put a very simple example to place, if we think about a service appointment booking today done online for a multi-brand business, okay? Let's say it's still a AVME business, but you have a Porsche service center and you have an Audi service center. You don't want your Audi customer to book a service inside the Porsche service center and vice versa. This is where we need to develop additional data sets to identify them. So when the customer is coming and is booking an appointment for their Porsche, we are only displaying the Porsche service centers, and when it's an Audi service center, it's only displaying the Audi service centers. In the Middle East, again, because being so unique, you may have an entire building with 5 brands in that building, yet in the setup of the DMS, every brand is having a separate point of sale company. So because they have a different point of sale company, we need to make sure that we are redirecting the correct customer into the correct point of sale, so that you don't have any errors or mistakes or bookings being done wrongfully. So that with that information in place, it does require us to provide additional fields, additional data that we need to hand, that not necessarily we have the capabilities of getting from the DMS on that perspective.
Okay, and I think it's probably worthwhile mentioning at this point, if anybody does have any further questions, or we didn't answer it exactly as you intended, you can see on the screen now there is an email. It's enquiries@Magna Systems. So if you want to take a note of that before the end of the session, you can send any further questions or inquiries through to that email address, and we can also set up some product demos if anybody is interested in any of the products. We can set up a one-to-one where we can take you through a live demo of the product. So we do have a couple more questions to get through before we close. So the next one, Elias, is many dealers do not use Otoline or Drive to manage body shop workflows. Is there the potential to integrate with additional third-party solutions to form a triangle of integration with Autotex or Autoflow?
Yeah. Again, the appetite is always there from an Otolink perspective to take a look at what can we do to be able to provide better seamless integrations. I think the limitation is not from a technology point of view, but it is more from a compliance point of view. And this is where we need to make sure that we are respecting compliances across the different, because every business, whether you're working with Autotex, you're working with Keyloop, or you're working with Autoflow, all of them, they have their own compliances on how they are comfortable in passing the data. So it's very important to have that in mind. And there will be some limitations, but I think there will also be some great wins and great successes in others. From an Otolink perspective, yes, we're always excited. We're always happy to take on new challenges, to try to find new ways to provide better integration, better communication across different systems. But again, we have to respect the compliances when it comes to these things. So it all depends on really what you are looking for and to what extent do you want to do the integration. It's pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you. The next question is, who do you sell to? Dealers, groups, or OEMs?
I would sell to everybody, actually.
I think I could have answered that one for you.
Yeah,
so yes, the solutions are available at either an individual retailer level, a group level, and if an OEM did want to approach for a particular project, then that would be available to an OEM on a larger scale as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's one question. I'm not sure whether this is appropriate to answer on this webinar, Elias, but I'll propose it to you and then we can take it offline if we need to. So there sounds like a lot of API integration with Keyloop. Is there a significant cost applied for that by module?
The significant cost, well, it all depends on what significant cost is. When it comes to, yes, obviously there are charges to be able to use these technologies and these facilities, other than the hosting charges that we need to take in consideration, the support and maintenance, and there are some APIs as well that are required to be purchased by Keyloop, or depending on the certification agreement that we have with Keyloop, there will be some APIs that are identified as partner APIs that would that Otolink will be able to acquire them on your behalf from Keyloop. But there are, but it's not that significant in terms of the return on investment that you could get out of them. You got to think about a small investment that you're doing towards these automation of technology or automation of the processes. How much more would you be able to benefit from on the other end? Today, if we think about somebody accidentally doing a mistake on a parts order, it could cost you thousands. Or having a issue with a customer because the vehicle was sold, they put some money online, and also the same vehicle was sold within the showroom, also can potentially cost you not necessarily money, but reputation. Reputation today is very difficult to maintain. There's a lot of competition. It's very easy to somebody talk, unfortunately, badly about you on social media and things like that. So it will hurt your business in an indirect way. And if we take a look at it from that perspective, definitely our job is to show you a return on investment when it comes to these things.
Okay. And the final question is, again, about Body Shop. So apologies if you have answered it already, but I think it's worthwhile answering the final question. Is body shop integration on your roadmap? And if so, what are the timescales?
So I'm assuming body shop integration, we're talking about a body shop management system such as...
I think, well, we're talking about Audatex and probably, which is the Audatex is the quoting system, and then we have Autoflow, which is the body shop management solution.
So right now, as if we want to talk about a solution with Audatex perspective from an integration point of view, we figured out the workflow, we've figured out the mapping, we've figured out all of the necessary requirements to be able to deliver an integrated solution. Right now, we are in the phases of piloting and testing and certification on that. However, we're no longer in the R&D phase. So the R&D phase is the one that takes the most time because you got to figure it out, do some research, analysis, test, build, and develop. We've passed that stage right now, and we are pretty much at the final. So hopefully within, let's say, the next month or so, couple of months, hopefully, we'll have that up and running.
In a pilot site in the UK?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so thank you very much, Elias. That brings us to the end of our questions for today. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers, Paul, for the introduction, and Elias for taking us through each of the product sets, and of course to our delegates who joined this morning. The session will be made available to you if you would like to review it. The session has been recorded for anybody who would like to play it back. If you do have any further questions or would like to make an inquiry, then please use the email address that should be on your screen, which is enquiries@magnasystems.co.uk. And there are a couple of handouts if you do want to download them that just take you through some of the Magna Systems products and services that we offer within our business as well. So thank you very much for your time today, and we hope to see you and speak to you very shortly.